Hello and welcome back to a new video. I hope you're doing well. I myself am recovering from some cold thing that I have, but I'm doing much better now. I hope you're doing good too. And what do we have today on the menu? We have a base game build with CC. So we are building with only base game and custom content. And I am using specifically custom content from one creator only, which is from Pierism. I will link everything in the description, so you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, I absolutely love Pierism CC. I think it's probably one of my favorites out there, and I really wanted to use his CC in a build so I could just show how versatile CC can be, especially, if you take CC from one creator, multiple packs from one creator, because creators do packs like their kits and stuff packs. So I wanted to do that to show how versatile they can be, and also trying to just figure out what is going to happen with CC from now on, now that we have the marketplace. Funny enough, I started building this before we got the news that we were gonna have the Moolah currency, the new currency in the Sims 4 that you can buy custom content packs. And actually, there's been a lot of discussion about that, and as it should. I personally think that it's not very nice to have, a company this big profiting off of content creators this way. However, I do recognize that it's really cool that now people playing in console will have access to custom content. Obviously, that's really, really cool. I just think it goes a bit against their own policy, which is making CC available and free. And I also understand that this is a way to support custom content creators. That's really good as well. But if that were the case, they wouldn't need to have such a big cut out of the paycheck, So I think custom content creators should have full revenue going towards them, or if not, then most of it. And I don't think that's the case. Don't quote me on that, but at least that's the impression that I have. I haven't done a lot of research on that. But yeah, onto the build here. Just to wrap it up, what I was talking about, this comes to show that you can have The Sims for free now, the base game, and you can then just get CC, which is also free if we don't count the marketplace. And you can have a lot of variety in terms of objects, at least, that are really, really good. The quality is much like the packs that we have, or even better sometimes. Some packs we do get items that are a bit wonky. And custom content creators really don't need to hold back as much, I guess, when they're making packs, just because I imagine the Sims team has some rules that they have to follow. And I understand, because objects need to run in not just in higher end computers, but also some computers struggle to run certain packs, certain games, and I do understand that. However, the good thing is we can pick and choose with custom content, and if we don't like it, we're not spending money on something that we're not going to be using. So that's the beauty of it, or that's part of the beauty of it. And also, just to wrap it up, this whole CC Moolah marketplace thing, you can still support content creators via other ways. For example, I do support this content creator in Patreon, and that is I feel like it's a better way to support them, because I think they get a higher cut out of what you're paying. And if, at least for me, if I want to support someone, I want them to take advantage of it, right? I want them to use it and put more effort into it and what they do, and invest, because that's what we're at least that's what I'm trying to support. So I think obviously EA is not here to make just content creators have their bag, because if that was the case, they wouldn't be collecting money from something that they have not worked on. But I do understand these are business decisions, but I still am a consumer. So we are consumers, so we do have something to say, and we should say it. Okay, this build. As I said, I wanted to show off the versatility that custom content creators and packs have. So in this build, we are building two different buildings, or two different houses in one lot only. As you can tell, this one is so the first one we're building is very like brick, very old style, and it has a lot of greenery, a lot of landscaping going wild. And then on the other side, on the right side, we do have a modern build. I don't think I show any progress or any more progress on the modern build and the speed build, just because I feel like I do build a lot of modern stuff on the channel, and I wanted to show off something a bit different. So that's why I'm showing this house more than the other one. However, as always, if you know me by now, you know that I have something in mind when I'm building, like a storyline. And the storyline for this build goes like this. So we have this lot, this terrain, and somehow there are two people that own it, like legally or something like that. Maybe in this house, I pictured an old lady, an old sim living here. And, they've always lived in this house, and this was the only house that existed on this lot. However, they had to share the lot with someone else, maybe from Family Feud, I don't know. And they refused to let each other have the whole thing. So it's like they fought over the years, tried to get the terrain for themselves, but then the other person, and I think of a younger sim who wants to start a family. I think of them as just taking that piece of land and then building their own house there. So that's kind of the idea behind this weird build. So we do have two separate houses in the same lot, and I think you can also, if you want to play in just one of the houses, I think you could just place one of them. I'm not sure how this works, if the game lets you or allows you to place a bigger build, or a build that's bigger than the lot you want to put it on. But I think it should. And if so, then you'd be able to just place one of them. I think that'd be pretty cool. Or you can play with both and then like do separate units, or have like a roommate and then lock all the doors. But yeah, in this house, since we're doing base game, we don't have a lot of gameplay like out there that we can explore. So I did do this sim, or this house, have a lot of gardening stuff. And I thought that this sim specifically could be, as an elder sim, they could be a former cook. So they do plant a lot of stuff, they grow a lot of stuff still, and that's what they cook mostly. And the floor plan kind of changes a little bit throughout the build. They do have like that garden house thing out the back. And I used these pieces from one of the CC packs, obviously, because I wanted to have this with this like pitched roof / wall kind of thing. It makes it more cozy. I don't know. It gives me like the vibes of older houses and buildings, and I wanted it to have this cozy feeling. Now, obviously, all we use here are or is base game or custom content. All of these pieces, if you don't recognize them, then they're custom content. And I really like the look of this. The lighting in the game makes it weird sometimes, but I think it's such a cool idea. And to have people who are able to do stuff like this and we can use this in game, it is just really cool. And also the idea here was that now that I'm separating like the room into two, kind of, the idea was that they used to have 2 rooms there. So the main bedroom and maybe like a nursery or a kid's bedroom. But since the kid moved out, I just imagined in my head they kind of tore down that wall and just made a really big room. And we go back and forth here between like the bedroom and the bathroom. And I don't usually film bathrooms just because they're usually very small and not very exciting. But this one I made bigger on purpose just because I wanted to use this pack. PRSM has a pack that is, centered on bathroom, and it's this kind of vintagey style that I really like. And so I decided to film it and try to put more effort into a bathroom. That is something that I don't usually do. But yeah, we do use these like green olive colors, and I really like it. And also the beige color of the tiles, I feel like that's very also on brand for like grandma houses. Not just grandma houses, obviously, but like old-ish looking tiles and buildings. But yeah, we also use that divider just because we can. And also these floor tile pieces, I feel like it's like they remodeled a few things in the house, and you can still see what was original from the house and you can see what's new. And I think that pattern also comes in a floor tile, not just a rug style or, that piece that we have over there. And so I just clutter up this bathroom real good. I really like how it came out. I feel like it has a layout that is kind of weird, but also that's realistic in a way. So a lot of houses have these really weird shaped rooms, especially when it's a house that's a bit cramped like this, with a lot of divisions. So every room is like really small, and then there's walls everywhere. Just because I think contemporary styles tend to have everything open. Maybe it comes from this quote-unquote fear of having everything closed in, and also in matters of letting the light flow, sound, and whatever. Obviously we clutter a lot with some CC objects, and also I did use the tool mod just because I don't think I can live without it at this point. It's a lifesaver in so many ways. You will see throughout this video, you probably already have, that I am using it to rotate objects, size objects up and down, and it's such a cool tiny way to improve the build and sometimes make it more realistic or more to your liking. And it doesn't really require anyone else to have this mod. So I recognize that there's a bit of a learning curve if you want to, but then after you learn it, you can just use it. It's very intuitive, And as I said, if you like building, I think this is something worth exploring. But also, always download CC from sources that you trust. So, for example, the official modders page on Patreon, or on CurseForge. I'm not sure if CurseForge has that protection in terms of, having corrupt files, but I do know that sometimes there are a few pages online that kind of have just they put files that are not the CC files, so to kind of trick people and put viruses for people to download. So just be careful in that regards. But I think as long as you download from the official source, then you'll be fine. Just a heads up. Again, another example of how I use the tool mod. And these pieces here that I'm cluttering up now, I really wanted to use them, and that's how I came up with this idea that they had two rooms and then they tore the wall down and made one room. And it's like they kept this, like the bones of the structure of the house or of the room, as a way to like kind of complement and not have it like very, very open. And it's also a nice detail, I think, to have real wood. Of course, this is The Sims, but we can imagine that this is real wood and we can decorate it and make it look pretty and use it for our advantage in this case, to put like objects that you have, products, books, display stuff. But yeah, this little part here, as you can tell, is like a sitting reading nook. I really like this seating against the window. I feel like it's just so cozy to have something like that, where you can just sit and read. And I feel like that's something that this sim really, really likes. Especially because if you're playing with the base game only, there's not really much else you can do. But reading is good for everybody. Everybody should read. Yeah. And after this, we move on. So we've done the bathroom, and then we move on to the kitchen, I think. Oh no, yeah, we only have one bathroom in this house, and that is on purpose, just because on the first floor I wanted to have so I wanted to use two specific CC packs from PRSim, which were the pantry, or one of the pantry packs, and also one of the laundry packs. And I do believe there are some items that I didn't have just because I deactivated all of the packs. And there are some objects that are based off of objects that are in other packs. So for example, I think the laundry pack, I'm not sure of the name, I can't keep up with the game's pack names. Imagine me keeping up with CC pack names. But I do think that it comes also with like a washer and a dryer. So if you have laundry day, you will probably be able to use those items. I just didn't use them because they are not compatible with the base game. But I would have. And this is the laundry that I'm talking about. So we have some really, really nice objects, some really nice counters, and also clutter items. Ironing board, I love it. I think it's such a cool idea. Thank God for CC creators. And we do clutter this up. I also like this wallpaper very much. It feels like it's kind of moldy, but not really like moldy. So, you can kind of tell that this is where she dries her clothes. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna be referring to the sim as her because I see an old lady living in this house. So she dries her clothes in this room. That's why it's kind of, always damp. I think that's kind of funny, and to kind of have that look in a house in The Sims. Sometimes you really just want to have a bit of realism in that way. And most of this is not really usable. Again, if you have a laundry day, you probably can use the washing machines in this room. But as you can see, there are so many creative objects. I think for storytelling, this is just perfect. And besides, building with it is just so much fun. Normally I don't put much effort into like rooms like these, just because they're not very exciting. And I could say this about any division, any room of the house. Whenever we get a new pack that's focused on like a kitchen, then it's more exciting to be building a kitchen, right? I also recognize that, but it's really fun because we don't really get a lot of laundry stuff. And I mean, officially from the Sims team, and also CC, I feel like it's not very common, or at least it's the most popular packs are just, bedrooms, living rooms, kitchens, and which is good. It's good to have a lot of options. And we end up using also different cabinets, as I said, kind of having this old versus new stuff in the house, maybe trying to upgrade the house throughout the years. And also these textures are really, really nice. This makes me want to learn how to make CC, just because it's so cool to like have ideas and put them into the game. But I'm not sure if I'm cut out for that. We do a lot of these towels. I feel like this is where she keeps all of her towels, bath towels, and also blankets, all that good stuff. And yeah, I'm also thinking how after this we also get a rug in here. I wasn't sure about doing wood or tiles in this room. I went for wood just because it's similar to the rest of the house, and this isn't exactly like a bathroom. However, I wouldn't be finding it weird. And this is a trick that I really like doing with the tool mod. So you don't need the tool mod to do this, but I use it for this because I don't want to delete the wall, raise the object up, and then put the wall and paint again. So I just use the tool mod and put like a towel on the sink, like in front of the sink. Again, that's just realistic, and I think it makes a difference to have those details. As as the saying goes, God is in the details, or the devil is in the details. I'm not sure which one it is now. I think both are correct, right? You can use either for, depending on what you're trying to say. Anyway, I also do use some base game objects, obviously. Even though we had a lot of CC to use, and this is the pantry, so we do end up keeping that diagonal wall. Firstly, I was trying to make it rectangular, so we'd have the like both rooms would have like straight lines, but then the pantry would be smaller. And I feel like older buildings have these angular things, just because, I don't know, they had thicker walls or a lot of plumbing messing throughout. So I thought that would be a cool kind of challenge as well. And I ended up just placing the objects as I thought they would look in a real pantry. And as you can tell, there are a lot of objects that make reference to some brands, but it's obviously not branded, so it's written in Simlish. It's that's another good thing of Max's Match custom content. They, or the content creators, they use Simlish to kind of mimic real brands like those Coca-Cola bottles, but it doesn't really say Coca-Cola. It just follows the similar design or the same design as Coca-Cola. But yeah, so we know what we're kind of going for. And to me, this sim just likes having the pantry full. You know, they're one of those people that have always food, like always stocked up on food for her friends when they come over and gossip, for her grandkids. There are so many cereal boxes, so I just thought that was a cool detail to include a lot of food for the grandkids. Again, none of this is usable, but it's so cool to use this, like to build with this. I just had a blast. And I also use this small cart to place some more objects. And, you know, as I said, I imagine this sim to be a former cook or a professional chef or, you know, something along those lines. So there are plenty of pots and pans and a lot of things to bake. And I also place a lot of stuff on the kitchen, which we will be doing next, I think. And I just, you know, I wanted this room to feel like when you enter it, you can smell the brick and also the wood. I don't know if that explains it very accurately, but that's kind of what I was going for. So it's a room that's not very like well kept, but it has, you know, it has a lot of stuff that obviously is really taken care of and requires a lot of love being put into it. And I also like that kind of freezer thing that makes me think of my grandmother had a big one just like that. It was bigger, like a rectangular one. And so I included that. It made me think of those old, can I say that old freezers? I'm not sure if they're old. I suppose they're still used. But yeah, onto the kitchen. I really like this blue color on the counters, and we do keep that. I was planning to use this piece for a fridge, but we don't use that, or the fridge doesn't stay in that position. It stays on the opposite wall, and I put some more counter space there. And as for the oven, I was gonna use a CC one, but it felt too modern. And again, we could have gone with the reasoning that they were modernizing. But then I feel like this sim is stubborn in a few different ways. One of them would be she cooks with her, you know, traditional oven. So she works with fire and wood. She doesn't play with her cooking. She's probably very, she has a big pride in what she cooks. And also everything she has related to kitchen appliances and supplies. So I did leave that that traditional oven slash how do you call it? Yeah, that. But yeah, we have a lot of, as I said, a lot of kitchen appliances and stuff. Obviously, most are just decoration. But regarding the sim being stubborn, I feel like both people that live in these houses they're both stubborn because none of them wanted to give their part of the land to the other or sell or whatever. And also, I feel like she is the type of sim that would just be very bitter towards the other person. So they would be very picky in terms of like, they would complain about the shadows that the other person's trees are making in their or casting in their garden. Like your trees casting some really big shadows on my side. You should fix that, you know. And obviously she also has a lot of trees on her side that would also cast shadows on the other person's side. But maybe the other person doesn't really care. And so they could have this like kind of feud. But I think deep down I think there would be a story here to tell about them becoming friends and just supporting each other. Because I do have a soft spot for storylines like those. And yeah, as I said, we use this table as like a cooking center, kind of like an island, right? But I didn't want to use an island because it was going to look kind of odd. So we used that table. I feel like that's also realistic. And then we put a lot of veggies and fruits inside this basket. I did this manually one by one. I had to go to the gallery and get the veggies out, even though it's in the debug catalog. It's just easier that way. So that's a trick if you want to get those veggies quickly. You can just go on the gallery and search for like produce or something like that. And then they have rooms that are just those little fruits and vegetables. And also here I'm placing quite a few plants to kind of mimic that they're herbs. So, you know, basil, parsley. Some of them are actual herbs. Some of them are just plants from like decoration plants. And I also like putting stuff on top of the fridge because that makes it look a bit more lived in. And now to the living room. This living room, as I said, I like it being cramped, you know, filled with a lot of stuff, just because it makes it look lived in and kind of has that old grandma style to it. And I really like this fireplace, especially in the swatches that have like a stone and then the wood shelf on top. And I also did not give this sim a TV. She kind of comes across to me as someone who listens more to like vinyl discs, CDs, and just very, very vintage stuff. And also, you know, thick old cooking books with generational recipes. But then at the same time, she probably likes hosting friends coming over, cooking for them. There's a sitting or an eating area outside as well. Outside in the back with a nice pergola with some plants climbing up. But yeah, that's kind of the vibe of the whole build and also of this sim. And the modern build, it was also fun building with it just because it's a bit more minimal than this one, and it's a style that I'm more comfortable with. But also it was cool and challenging in a way that I also wanted to have a lot of space for, you know, a sim that's expecting a child or has a newborn. And we will see in the final tour when we do it, we will see that there's a room for the kids or for the kid also. And I feel you can tell some really cool stories from a build like this. So it's two houses in one lot. And I think we should just jump into the game and check it out for ourselves. So here we have the final build. This tree's kind of in the way, but we can just ignore it. So in general, this is what we ended up having. So the landscaping on the left one is very wild and set free. And then the landscaping on the right house, or the house on the right, or the modern one, is very manicured. It just gives more this of a modern vibe. Since we only showed this house in the speed build, let's start with this one. There's a few things I haven't shown, just so we can have some surprises. But as we enter the build, we are greeted with the dining room. So we have obviously the entrance area. We have two mirrors here. This is probably not a good idea to have two mirrors facing each other, but if you want, you can just delete one of them. And then we have right away the dining area. So I feel like this is also very realistic to have these pieces crammed in here. Some china on display. But yeah, this was really fun to build. And then through this archway, we have the living room. I feel like also having a lot of portraits is a sign that this is an old house, or a house with history. Maybe that's nicer. We have the fireplace. I just feel like it's cozy and we still have some space around. If we go through this door, we have the laundry. So I also really ended up liking this laundry room. A lot of wood details. Then back to the living room, we can go through this archway and into the kitchen. So we have the table with a lot of food already being prepared. We have some clutter here. We have the cooking area specifically. Then, as I mentioned, the herbs, some drying racks, and also an old microwave. And here we have just the trash can and also the produce box. And then through this archway and through the curtains, we have the pantry. I really like this custom content pack, the pantry stuff. It makes like such a big difference to have all of these things stocked up. And it's like the sim grows stuff and then collects it for the rest of the year, puts it into jars and all that. And then we go up the stairs. We have a landing over here, just a simple small landing. We don't have much space either way. To the right, we have the bathroom. So we have those olive greens. And this is also such a nice pack as well. Some really beautiful items. And yeah, this is how it ended up looking. And back to the hallway and across, we have the bedroom. So the bedroom ended up looking like this. I wanted something cozy, also relaxing, and this ceiling detail also comes with the CC pack, so it's so worth it. And then over on this side, we have the little reading area with some candles. You know, I feel like it's just really cool to have this big of a room. I think it was the right call to joining those two imaginary rooms that I had in my mind. Now back downstairs and through this kitchen door, we go to the back area of the house. So we have a lot of planting. I also added an easel, so the sim has some more activities to do. I also already put some things planted. Over on this side, we have this nice eating area. It's just cozy, and I like the mismatched chairs. You know, this is where I imagine her friends gossip with her when they come over, and where they eat. There's this bench under the tree, and then we have this like greenhouse / winter garden. I'm also really proud of it. We have a lot of plants obviously going on, some dirt, and I also put this table as if it were the table where she makes flower arrangements, since she grows a lot of stuff. So I put some vases as well, and also under the table. Yeah, it's also just cozy, and the lighting here is crazy throughout the day. I really like this. This is like a dream house room to have. And yeah, that's it for this house. Now we have the modern house. So also a lot of wallpapers are CC as well. Let's just get into it, because we have seen nothing of it yet. So right off as we go in, we have this little entrance area, a table to put your keys and that stuff. And then we are greeted with the kitchen. So it's a modern kitchen. It's not very, very big, but I think the size is just perfect. It also has this beautiful counter space with some stools. And also I did use some items in both builds just to show how versatile they can be. So this wallpaper is the same that we used in the laundry room of the other house. Like a small bathroom downstairs. This was the spot that I felt like it worked best. And then we have a full bathroom upstairs. We have this also next to the entrance. And then right here we have the eating area. So we have a bar there. And that little nook, I put that shelf because I didn't want to just close it off. I think it was a good place to kind of put that. And yeah, we also have this toddler chair. And this is the living room. So it's all kind of connected, even though there's a wall between the living room and the kitchen. A lot of earthy tones, greens, woods, and yeah, I wanted it to be like a modern and also calming spot. We also have that little plushie there because this is a family, or is a soon-to-be family home. Now we can check out the door out here. We have the backyard, we have a pool. I kept this part very simple because I feel like once you have a toddler, you can then have like the monkey bars, the swing, and also maybe a kid's pool. But I also included this eating area outside, again with the toddler chair, for a big family Sunday lunches or dinners. Also a fireplace, because that's always handy. Then we go up the stairs. This is a regular base game painting. I just rotated it with the tool mod, so it fit better here. We have the landing. I think it's supposed to be a plant here. I don't know what happened, but we have the tiniest study nook over here. Yeah, this is just a little fun way to include the laptop. I didn't want to put it in either of the bedrooms. And right off here, we have the main bedroom. So we still follow with these colors, greens, warm yellows, and oranges. We also have a little sitting area. I really, really like the modern objects, the modern items in these packs, and also this wardrobe would be so cool to have in real life. But yeah, they also have access to this sitting area outside. I just put some couches here, some love seats, and then you also have the view of the backyard. And then there's just some more lounges here, and also that kids activity table, since again, family home. But yeah, back inside, and we have right here the kids' bedroom. So this is what it ended up looking like. I didn't want to make it very gendered just because that's up to you, or that's up to the player. I did use a lot of the CC stuff. These are base game, but I thought it would be cool to kind of make them into like a train. And we don't have a base game changing table, so I kind of made this one. Obviously it's not usable, but it's cool to have that visual representation, even though it's just base game and CC. And yeah, the crib, this is also CC. Just really, really cool. And yeah, a little bit messy with the toys here, but you know, that's also where the fun is at. And lastly, we have the bathroom, or the full bathroom. I really enjoyed this bathroom. It has, the only thing is this huge window, and it's in front of the house, but listen, you could have frosted glass, or you can just draw the curtains. It's no big deal. I really like the warm tones as well in this. And yeah, again, I had fun building this bathroom, which is something that is not very fun doing. And also I love this little detail on the mirror. But yeah, this is the build. Let's see the view from above. They're very different, and this is just one lot. And this is the ground floor, and this is the second floor. I'm really happy with how this came out. I took so long to finish building this, but I really wanted to have a lot of detail in it. And I hope you can tell that I really did put a lot of thought into it. I like creating these stories in my head and then moving them to the game. So that's it for this build. I hope you liked it. Let me know which one is your favorite if you do have one. It would be cool to kind of figure out some more personalities for these houses and how they would interact with each other. But yeah, let me know what you think, and let me know if you would like me to do this with some other CC creators. I would be so down to do that. There are so many talented ones out there that I would like to try out. So let me know which ones are your favorite or which ones you would like to see me build with, and I will definitely check them out. This build will be in the gallery. My ID is CatsAgainstCrime. You will also find that in the description. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.